with this channel, I want to kind of dive into the different conversations, the spiritual conversations is what I mean, that I find around the YouTube streets, and just kind of give my take on the conversation, or maybe let's say a different perspective on the conversation. Today, I am joining the self proclaimed Christ, the self proclaimed the Messiah of Black people, NatureBoy, and his ex member of Carbonation, BP. So we'll dive right on in, and later on in other videos, I'll get you to understand a little bit more about what I seek to do with this channel.
What's up, Dad? What's up? What's going on with you? Yeah, what's up with you, nigga? Hey, you alright? I'm always over. You know me. I stay, stay on the path. You feel me? I hear you. What's up with all this shit you talking though? What's going on? What you mean? What's up with all the shit I'm talking? You just sound hurt. You sound hurt. You feel what I'm saying? I am. Now look. I am hurt. Okay. Okay, and that's cool. But guess what? But listen. Guess what? But listen. What? Of course I'm hurt. I've been hurt since the day I was born. Okay. We all fucked up. We all fucked up. Everybody hurt. We are. But this is the one thing I learned from you, Nick. But this is the one thing I learned from you. This is one of the main things that I learned from you. You feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. This is the thing with you. You use your pain and you make a philosophy for the shit to get. Like, it don't make sense to me, bro, and it's not realistic to me. This is just my personal opinion. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you know me, you know my story. I got the same story, and I feel the same way in a lot of the ways. You feel what I'm saying? But sometimes I had to push through that shit just to get another perspective. You feel what I'm saying? I mean, it sounds cool for somebody that's just, you know what I'm saying? You hurt, you trying to get through your shit. Okay, cool. But at the same time, I'm not hurt by what you think I'm hurt by. I'm not hurt by Eliana. I'm not. Because what you hurt by then? I'm hurt by the system and how it's set up. This shit fucked up. See what's perpetuating. I can't be hurt at what's in the dark and what's happening in the dark. I gotta be hurt at who's turned the lights out and made it capable of doing that. See, you can only do what you have the option to do. I'm not hurt at Eliana. Eliana just weak. I'm not hurt at her. I'm talking about I'm hurt at the system that she got the option to run to. You understand what I'm saying? Like, people running from themselves because of the system. I'm not mad at her. I'm mad at the system that's like the devil, like, yeah, come on over here. You can have all of this. Yeah, da. But at the end of the day, I'm not mad at her. She just got generational curses.
Okay, let's start there. He's saying that he's not angry with Eliana. He is angry with the system. So we're talking Christ, the second coming here, the Black Jesus, saying that he's not hurt. He's just angry with the system. And the system is the problem because Eliana had a place to run to. So in his teaching, he has always been showing that he wants to take women away from the police, the system that has police that will protect women from him. And he finds that's a problem because obviously he has been abusing women for quite some time and having issues with the police interfering in it. But that's just a teaser. That's just a beginning. I don't want to get too much into his the personal part of him too much. I want to speak more about the teaching. One problem though with him is that it's hard. It would be hard for me to teach about his teachings because, or his teaching, it should not be, you know, open ended teaching, which is basically what this guy has. So it makes it problematic to really narrow him down on what he claims he's teaching. But I do have a understanding of basically what he's trying to do, and in these videos I will go into that. So let's see about his anger here.
Upon us. It ain't got nothing to do with her. I ain't mad at none of my baby moms. You feel what I'm saying? Okay, this is what I'm saying. Have you ever considered the fact that your baby moms left because the situation wasn't that good? You feel what I'm saying? Do you ever think that shit, it might be better to go back to Babylon than to be where the fuck I'm at? Okay, okay. Here's where that's not true. And you know that's not true because I was upon knowledge to show that they ain't true. It ain't about the knowledge, it's about the experience. What you always say? What you always say makes you break. Hold on. You cannot. What you always say? You cannot conceptualize what's to be experienced. Okay, and some people experiences might not be the experience that you think it is. You feel what I'm saying? So guess what? It might be better out of all the knowledge, out of all the teachings. It might be better to just get the fuck back on the Babylon. Let me regroup myself before I lose my fucking mind in this situation that I'm in. Because guess what? Every situation is just not Babylon. You feel what I'm saying? You could be in a relationship that's a Babylon relationship. That's a Babylon mentality. That's a, you know what I'm saying? It's not just the place, my nigga. It's the shit that's going on in that relationship or that environment that you're in. We call it generational curses. No matter what.
Hold up. Hold up. You know what? It's not very much I can say there. I think this lady is going to take away a lot that I have to say in this video. So I'll just kind of step aside sometimes and get in where I fit in because she's handling him pretty good right now, which not very many people can do because of his anger. And I've been blocked again on his from his channel because I ask questions and I say things that he don't like. So that's a very angry man there on the screen.
There you go, there you are. So here's what it is. It's not that the situation wasn't good here. It's just that here people have to face their demons and they can't run. You understand what I'm saying? When you get here, you gotta face your demons. You can't run. Listen, you see what I'm saying? Listen. You can't say this. I was there for a year. I was there with you for a year. You feel me? So I know. Like, you know what I'm saying? But guess what? Sometimes, at one point, that peace turned into Babylon. That peace wasn't peace.
See, he will not accept the truth. That's his problem. Now, everyone must remember, you're in this so-called conscious community. That's what he walked into, claiming to be conscious and aware of the truth. And one thing I can say about the truth and walking a path of the truth, and not just because you're black, but a spiritual path of the truth. When you're walking that path, you have to understand that when someone, okay, I'll put it like this. I heard someone say this before. The way you know how close you are to God is how you accept the truth. So if you cannot accept the truth, you do not love the truth. So he claims to be teaching the truth and to be leading people to the truth, and he claims to be the truth, and yet he doesn't like the truth when he's confronted with it, when someone brings it on him. And see what this teacher has to say, this young lady here, and also about his teaching, helping them with their experiences and learning the truth through their experiences. What I have noticed out of all of this is that no one ever leaves there healed. I know one thing about the truth: it heals. The truth heals. When you dive into it and you, quote, face your demons, as he put it, freedom comes from that. Freedom and healing comes from that. And when this young man does not want to face the truth, you already know where he is. He's not healed. He does not know the healing effects of the truth. He wants other people to know that, or let's say he wants to be the one to bring that to other people, but he's not. He's basically pushing something on them and they're not happy. And that's basically what she's saying. They're not getting what he thinks they're getting. So that shows a disconnect with reality. He's not realistic about what's happening in other people's experiences. You have to know when you're teaching someone and you're coaching them in their life experiences, you have to know that these people are actually getting it, and not just getting what you're saying, but getting the healing, the life changing, life transforming truth.
BP, this is what it was, right? Anytime you sit somebody still long enough, they gonna find who? They gonna find their demons. That's what Babylon. Yeah, but guess what? Let me finish. It's not even about that. If I'm dealing with somebody else's demons, if I'm in a situation and it's dealing with my own demons, listen, dealing with my own demons is bad enough. You feel what I'm saying? So if I gotta deal with, that's how you get you. But no. I don't have to deal with somebody else's demons in order to find my demons. Listen, we all interconnected. So somebody will come along to invoke your inner demons. That's how it works. You don't work on your own demons by yourself. You work on your demons by somebody being there. When someone is there, they show you yourself. In a relationship, we are shown who the fuck and what's going on in us. We always point the finger, but it's somebody else that shows us something within us we need to work on. So when you came to me, we was in an isolated environment where you had where if you really think about it, everything that no matter if you left here or not, you still had to work on came out. Like it didn't matter. That's a fact. That's a fact. I gained the tools to work on them. This is what I learned. I gained the tools to work on them. All right, but you had the tools. You see what I'm saying? You had the tools to work on them here. But
Now, I like to interject. He's speaking about the experiences. The whole thing about this is that the creator, the higher self, the universe gives each and every one of us the experiences that we need to transform our lives and become free on the inside, to help us clear our inner lives. And this young man does not want to understand that what he has built is like a chamber. He's thinking that he knows this is what's going on, but he's using that for himself. He's saying that, yes, I built this chamber of experiences for you to learn, but what she's trying to say is that, yeah, I came there to deal with my demons. I did not expect to have to deal with your demons as well. Now, yes, we all experience other people's demons, true enough. But we also have an ability to pull away from other people. And we must do that in order to truly deal with our demons. We cannot be bombarded with someone else's demons all the time. So you never want to be in an environment that will create more problems for you, because you're trying to deal with your own situations and your own issues, and you don't want to go somewhere where you're being other issues are being added onto you. So, uh, yes, if you innocently went to a place, and it turned out to be something else, that's one thing. But someone that supposedly teaching you how to free yourself is calling you over and bringing you over and putting you in an environment where you are imprisoned, basically. So, and not just physically, but imprisoned mentally and emotionally. Uh, that might not be your issue. That might not be something that you came to this earth. Now, I won't say came to this earth. That might not be what you have experienced and was conditioned to uh, in your life when you were born and you're growing up, and all the different experiences that you have had you to have these different issues in your life that you need to be free from. Okay, so he's you have your own issues. Say your issue might be say you've been raped, and that's your whole thing, is that somebody you trusted took advantage of you sexually, and you live with that for so long. Let's just say that's the only issue you ever had, only thing you need to be free of. And of course it brings on other things, other kinds of feelings and thoughts, and everything is, creates other experiences surrounded around that issue. So you have that only issue in you, and so you can go in so-called Babylon, as he put it, go to a psychologist, sit down and talk about that issue, study that issue through your life and whatever, and one day you may be free of it. Okay? It won't follow you around. It won't happen again in your life, or, something like that. You can be free of it and be happy with it if you have the right tools. A lot of people don't become free in that system though. But with this young man, he wants you to believe that it's okay for you to take that issue and come to his camp, and then let him mess with your mind, manipulate you, uh, mess with your body by forcing you to to be on a diet that he created, and then uh, just convincing you so much, take your money, all the money that you have, all of these things, and then he's apparently, like almost like a megaphone for them all the time, because he's there talking, 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 talking constantly, and just creating more issues that eventually these people are going to have to work on. Eventually, they're going to. I was listening to Eliana today, and she was very upset today about. She was just thinking about him, and she did a rant video, basically telling him that she would never, that she was there for a certain reason, and that she didn't sign up for the garbage that he had her there doing, and those kind of things. So the experiences that she was going through over there and accepted everything he's saying and all these other things and being manipulated by him to the point of being beaten by him and those different things. Now, someone that grew up, say, let's say she never been beaten before, but now she goes to a man and now the man starts beating her. So now she has to deal with being a battered woman now. So she's going to have to go back home. She came there to work on other issues, and now she left the situation in an angry state, and now eventually she's going to have to, and she was talking on the video today about how now she's going to have to take her child and herself to get tested for STDs, because of being with him, and he's an abusive man, and the way he wants to run everything over there and have sex with whoever he wants to, and bringing her in that, and bringing a child into it as well, you know all under the guise of he's some kind of spiritual guru, and he's just clearly taking advantage, and don't want to say that he's a sex cult, but that's basically all he talks about. That's all he is. He thinks that that's all women are for. So, anyways, that's what I'm trying to say, is that they're they leave there with serious issues that they are going to have to reconcile, and they're going to have to become free of.
At the end of the day, let me say this. You had the tools to work on them here because you had me because I was coaching you through it. But you said, fuck me, I'm going to go through it the hard way. And I didn't say fuck you. See, that's what. When I say that, I mean like, you said, fuck it, I'm going to do it the hard way. So.
Now, if you hear what he's saying, is that basically what he's trying to make them believe is that they're supposed to have some kind of open-ended relationship with him. They should always be there where he is and not ever leave him. This is a grown woman. Look at this woman's age. So he expects them to sit there and follow him and bow to him and cater to him and worship him basically for the rest of their lives. That's obvious. He has no idea of them becoming healed one day and then leaving and being free and go off and teach others. He has no idea of that. He wants to hoard people, basically. And if you're a true spiritual guru who is in the know thyself, uh, ageless wisdom teachings, you know that doesn't make sense. You know that is something you do not even want. You do not want anyone attaching themselves to you to where they're going to be around you for the rest of their lives. You're going to be there teaching them for the rest of their life, and they don't grow. And see, he also don't see the backwards growth that these people have. He don't see that he takes a lot away from them instead of them actually growing. So that's see, and see, that's another thing. When they leave, they got to build up again who they used to be and start all over again, mentally and emotionally.
You went and learned the hard way. You could have stayed here, listened to me, and been cool. But like you said, you can't escape the experiences. Some people gotta go bump their fucking head on their own. Some people can learn from other people's mistakes. Some people, like you said, you were the type of person that was like, yo, I gotta go bump my head. But when you left me, here's my question, right? When you left me, did the things that you experienced stop? No, absolutely not. They're never going to stop. It's not meant to be stopped. You feel what I'm saying?
And that is what she don't understand. He obviously didn't teach them, or he don't know. Yes, they can stop. They can stop. With the proper teaching, they will stop. all the way until you finish your entire last issue in your life. They will stop. I have seen so much stop, but I'll give you a quick example. I used to smoke cigarettes. When I first stepped into this teaching, someone gave me a book, and it led me to choose a vice that I had. I chose smoking, something I wanted to release. I studied it 8 months. I saw things that I had never seen in 12 years of smoking. I had never had a nicotine fit, what they call a nicotine fit. I had never seen that in me before. I'd never had it before. During this studying, I had that. I had, I just remembered how I started. I thought about, when I first was a kid and first took a cigarette, so first smoked a cigarette and smoked with one of my sisters, and, how that started, and ended. And, so I studied every aspect of how I started smoking, how it feels to smoke, everything. One day a doctor told me, you're smoking around this kid. And that made me really want to change what I was doing. So I noticed that one day I was smoking. It was New Year's Eve, and I was standing outside on the patio because I didn't want to smoke in the house anymore because the doctor had told me that, I shouldn't be smoking around him, basically. So I'm standing outside and it's cold in the wintertime, and I'm out there smoking and sticking my head in the house, talking to him in the same time, trying to smoke outside. And my throat was hurting me as well. And I was singing and everything. And I just realized how it was a really, really unnecessary thing that I was doing. What am I doing out there smoking? My throat hurts me. I'm trying to sing, and my child can't take the smoke. What am I doing? So I told myself, I said, 12 midnight, I am going to quit smoking. And that's it. I'm going to let it go. 12 midnight, I had no more cigarettes left. I think I had a few during it when I made the decision to give it up. I had a few left. And by 12 midnight, I did not have another cigarette to smoke. And then the pack was empty. And then that was it. That was my last time I smoked. Now, I did try to smoke afterwards, actually, and I took a couple of puffs. I couldn't smoke it anymore. But that was it. I could not smoke anymore, and I did not smoke anymore. And it's been, let's just say that was 1990. So, what I'm saying is that that's what this teaching will do for you. And I've seen other people, when I coach them, I've seen them give up things that they never go back to. They leave it alone, they're done, and don't go back. And for some reason, with him, people are going back and they believe that things would never stop. It's not, something is wrong in the teaching.
But I gained more control. Listen, I had the tools. Now that when I do experience something, you in my fucking head, like, hey, do the right thing when nobody's looking. You know what I'm saying? Like, I learned a lot. Like, don't get that shit twisted. I did not. I'm not saying I didn't learn a lot. I'm saying I had to apply them away from you. When you got somebody standing over your goddamn back saying, do the right thing, do the right thing, do the right, you're gonna do the right thing naturally. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna do it. But when you get the fuck on, and you have to apply it on your own, in your own life, on your own life journey, that's when you know you got it. You feel what I'm saying? It's easy when somebody's standing over your back telling you to do it. But but that's what we're for, right? We are community to keep us on a righteous path. It's not. Yes, but listen. I understand what you're saying. You're saying get the knowledge and then go back into the world and then apply that knowledge. That's not go back to whatever you gotta go to. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's not meant to just be jumped the fuck out. What I'm saying to you is we have dedicated our life to walk in the righteous path. When you get here, you have dedicated yourself to being in the world, but not of it at all. We're not fucking with the world at all. What you're saying is, I'm going to go learn.
And you can be in the world and not of the world without leaving the city that you live in, the state that you live in, and the country that you live in. Because either way, wherever you go, you're going to be in the world. So being not of the world is about your own mind and your own feelings. That is where you're not of the world. That's where you do the inner work. It's simple as that.
Me through some hard shit. You didn't have to take that path. You didn't have to take that path. It's not hard. It's not hard. It's not. Listen, it's not hard shit, but it was harder there. You feel what I'm saying? Because you got some. It's like a prison, nigga. You got somebody standing over your back saying, "Do this, do this, do this." Feel like it's a prison because it's not for you. Exactly. Right. Exactly. It was not for me for a moment. Listen. This path is not for everybody, and that's what I'm saying. It's not fit for everybody. Listen. Exactly. Because
Again, he's trying to say that the whole spiritual path is not for everyone. Okay? But she's not understanding what he's trying to say. He's trying to say, oh, well, you didn't get it because you're not ready for the path. This is not your path. It's not, we're only, they call themselves demigods and stuff now. So we're the only ones. The people that's in here in this carbonation is the only ones that is on this path and in this kingdom and whatever. So he don't want to hear that his teaching has flaws and what he has done there is causing people problems. He don't want to hear that.
But that's not the only path. You gotta know that. You gotta know that's not. All roads lead to the source. You just took a hard road. You see that BJ came here, homie? Hey, yo, the BJ came in and told me. All roads lead to the source. You feel what I'm saying? All roads lead to the source. And guess what the source is? Guess what the source is? Whatever your source is. No, nigga, it's me. And no matter what you do, okay, when you say it's you, okay.
You see, she laughed. He smiled. He's serious. He seriously believes that somehow he is the source. He's the one that created the universe, humans, gods, everything. He created all of this. Uh, then he mixes it up and he wants you to believe that, hey, well, I'm basically, God is in me. So that's why I'm a God and this and that, but we all are. That's what he don't get. He wants to say he's the only one. And then when somebody does that to you, you need to go and find your other path. Okay? Go find another path somewhere. Because this man is not good mentally. I have to tell you the truth. It's not I'm not trying to give him a label, a psychological label that you find when you go into the books. You know, I'm not that kind of, I'm a spiritual psychologist. I am not a medical psychologist. So I'm not going to give you a label of what is going on with his symptoms, you know. But we all know, just like she laughed, she knows he's not God. I understand the teaching of telling people that they're God. Okay, I understand that. But I do not teach people that, especially when they are in low vibration. I don't teach babes that. I don't let people, I don't, I wouldn't set up a commune and have people come and I start telling them they're God, because you don't know where their minds are. They can be ill and they can end up taking it literally like he did. He's taken it literally to believe that he's some kind of God to where he's created everything and everyone should follow him. He's the one, he's the man. Some reason God sent the most negative, angry, hateful, woman hating man to force black women to be a part of and to just teach other black men that they can have all the sex they want by getting all the women they want. Basically that's all he's basically showing. Those are the fruits that he is showing. He's not showing any good fruit in his behavior that people should be following. Anyways, here we go. Let's see what else she has to say.
Hey, break that down. Break that down. Break that down so I can understand. Going through, no matter what you're going through, who you hear, no matter what you hear, no matter where you go, the knowledge is sitting you what? No, not the knowledge. Not the knowledge, not necessarily, because your knowledge has changed. Listen, your knowledge done changed all the way the fuck up since I've been there. It ain't the knowledge.
And also, this knowledge garbage that I'm noticing from this so called conscious community is another problem because they have people like him. Basically, what the conscious community wants to say is that, science and history and all those kind of knowledge of Kemet and knowledge of, the old African way and all of that is somehow divine. Okay? Knowledge is worshiped in this uh, community that they call conscious community. And I keep looking, I keep asking, what are you conscious of? Because I see so much negativity coming out of them. I've seen so many people just lost, and this man takes the cake. He is number one, so far as I'm concerned. Basically, they praise this knowledge thing. The people that they're praising that got knowledge usually are men, and these men take their newfound fame or whatever you want to call it and start running away with people money. This man is a pimp. This man here is a pimp. He was pimped out by someone else and now he speaks like a pimp. He demands donations like a pimp. He is a pimp. I came from Chicago. I know how a pimp acts. I know how they want to manipulate and everything. I know this. And I know this man. He's a pimp. Period. And he's pimping the game of being some kind of guru. And somehow he's gotten lost. I think really what it boils down to, he is ill. So in his ill state, he's using this. He found that he found some knowledge of this particular teaching that he used. He calls nigga moments, um, and where he coaches people with these tools of supposing. I don't know what his tools are. I haven't been able to break him down because he talks too much and it's hard to see where he is.
It's the shit that if I had a father in my life, listen, let me tell you what it was. It's the shit that if I had grew up with a father, the shit that you taught me is the shit that I learned from. You know what I'm saying? That's why I always call you dad. Like it's the everyday shit. It's the morals. You know what I'm saying? It's the integrity. It's that part. It's not necessarily knowledge because your shit change up every goddamn day, bitch. I can't keep up with that shit. It's not that it's changing. What you need to understand is that we are.
And we all know, anybody that's following this guy, we all know that he does change his teaching a lot. I still haven't fully, and I'm not going to sit down and listen at his videos to where I have to listen to hours and hours. I wouldn't waste my time, and I would not even want to hear some of the stuff that he has to say. Wouldn't even want to try to figure it out, because I mean, he was talking about the five aspects melanin, biology, astrology, grounding, and something else. But I could say, oh, and quantum physics, which quantum physics is pretty good, but you got to really understand it and really work in it. But I can say one thing about the grounding that I noticed. Now he don't have a real true grasp on everything because he was talking about grounding, and he was showing where he made a little grounding pad that he put in his bed. So he was showing us how to make this grounding pad where he took aluminum foil, took an alligator clip and a wire, and connected it to the aluminum foil, and then ran the wire into the wall. So he used that third plug into the wall. And I got to thinking about that. And the whole thing is that you got to know a little bit something about electricity. So the basis of grounding, what I understand grounding is to be grounded to the earth, grounded to the soil, grounded to the earth, period. Okay. So it's like gardening. When you're out gardening, you want to be out there in barefoot and everything, feeling the grass and everything. That's grounding. um his grounding was more like something schizophrenic would do. So his grounding though is what I realize is that when you're grounding like that with a plug and thinking you're going to the earth, you're not. He's not even thinking about that. Your grounding is when you stick it in a plug in the wall. When you go and search that circuit and search the circuit in the house and go down to the grounding where that ground wire is going to, that ground wire is attached to metal. That ground wire is not attached to the earth. So, I don't know if that's what they're trying to do. If he's saying it's okay, you can be, you know, attached to a piece of metal that man made. But anyways, here we go.
Marvin, we are human beings, so we're becoming. So everything is always evolving and growing. It's not that it's like it's not that it's I guess it's changing, but not in the sense that it's different to the point where it's still in the same sense the same thing, but it's becoming more clearer and fulfilling. It's being fulfilled was what I'm saying. The knowledge is getting more clearer. So
He's trying to say it's evolving. So, and that like I was saying, I remember what I was saying about the knowledge thing that the conscious community doing. They're worshiping people who can have knowledge. I remember talking to a, on a channel, and we were having a live call, and and one guy got on, and we were talking about people working on their minds. And the one young brother was having some issues, and we were talking about him, doing certain things to help himself, get his head clear about what he had been doing. And then a young man came on, and this young man started talking history. It was all about some history of, what they did back in the Bible days. I mean, where they found the Bible, and it was, written in Hebrew, and it was written here. I forgot exactly what he was talking about, but that's the basics of the things, Hebrew Israelites, and they came from here, and they were there at the 1600s, and they were there in the 1800s, and that's like, what did it have to do with this man's mind? We were talking about healing the mind. We weren't talking about history. So in this conscious community, they make them believe that that is the most amazing thing, and the most wonderful thing, and it's the highest thing, is to have this kind of knowledge, have science. If you're teaching about science, or you think about science, and you can explain science and how things work, another any kind of knowledge like that, they pretty much praise that, especially that history thing that goes back into to Kemet and all that other stuff. They're like praising that, but the whole thing is that that is not what should be worshiped. That's not what's grand. What is grand is wisdom. So you got to have wisdom come out of all of that knowledge. Other than that, you're just a walking book, basically. And people do not gravitate to that. That's what you don't understand. Yes, other historians, other people, yeah, that's fine. But we're talking about changing people's minds and changing their lives. And that is only done through wisdom. So this guy was one of them showing this so-called knowledge, and you hear them constantly talking this knowledge stuff, and it's not getting anywhere. I mean, like I was saying with the guy on the phone, he had a serious disconnect, and he could not stop himself from talking about history. He was not on the level that the rest of the call was on. He wanted to talk about this history all the time, and it was annoying. And he ended up basically co-opting the whole call for 45 minutes talking about this history. Then the other guys start talking about the history, and then in the meanwhile, what does that have to do? Somebody was there trying to understand some things, and he could have had a breakthrough. But you want to talk about history, and that is what I'm seeing in this conscious community thing.
We upgrade the knowledge. You feel what I'm saying? We get rid of the bugs. We get right to the source of it now. So it's like it's becoming a clearer message. You understand what I'm saying? Rather than anything else. It's becoming confusing.
Your message should have been clear before you went out and started bringing people to a camp. You should have known what you should be teaching these people. You should have known that they're not going to get healed unless they have a complete package of teaching. And you going throwing things in like astrology and biology and stuff that people have. Biology, if you and I haven't really heard him even teach about biology. Really, I haven't really heard that, but not like we hear it. I mean, have heard it and whatever, with the frogs and all of that. But as you see, what she's saying is that his teaching became very confusing because he was adding things to it. He was not. Uh, he claims that it's becoming clearer and all this and all. No, he was adding things. You see his head wrap. It started with him telling people all of a sudden he's Muslim. Okay, he wanted to know about the Quran now, and that only happened because he had a white woman come and she started spending money and helping him with some money, and now then all of a sudden he wanted to be Muslim, and he was claiming himself to be like the prophet Muhammad or somebody. I don't know who it was, but and then he's Jesus, and then he's all these other people that have worked hard in their lives to become who they are, and or either they're supposedly some kind of god or something like that. These are the personalities he's trying to take upon himself and proclaim himself to be. So anyways, she said it was confusing. He's trying to say it's not.
Confusing to me. That shit get confusing. Well, it's gonna get confusing to you because you're not vegan and you're smoking. You know I ain't be.
Oh, okay, now see, he don't like that. So now he's going on the personal attack to her with her. She's telling him straight up, it was confusing. You done got confusing. Your teaching is not clear. It's not helping anyone because it's confusing. Okay, and he's saying, well, wait a minute. The reason it's confusing to you because you're not vegan no more. I can tell you're not vegan, and you're smoking cigarettes. I see that too. But yet, what I guess a week before this call, I guess within this week, with this call that he had with her, he was drinking. He was getting drunk off of the South American wine. He claims it was wine. It didn't look like a wine bottle. It looked more like a beer bottle that he was drinking. But you can clearly tell that he was really tying one on and he was really getting high. He got seriously high and drunk off of this wine. And then he started telling people that, oh, it was just wine. He even told one man, he was telling the elder that was a ZX 1400. He told him that, oh, you're drinking alcohol or something like that. And the Mr. Vaughn had to tell him, hey, he said, wine. He said it's the same thing. Alcohol is alcohol. I mean, what he don't understand, he think he's some kind of Jesus drinking wine, but he's tying one on. Number one, he's not drinking in moderation. And number two, wine was number one in messing people's minds up. We used to call people winos. And that's what people are telling us when they come out of this camp. He drinks a lot.
Huh? How you know I ain't vegan? I know you ain't vegan. I can tell by your vibration, nigga. I can see your little roly-poly head. I say a little bit. I know what you look like when you vegan, man.
See, he's become insulting. Because, see, she wasn't trying to insult him. She was just telling him the truth. Now he feels it's okay to become insulting to her because he's deflecting. He's trying to throw her under the bus and hurt her now when he's supposed to be this high-minded God with this amazing teaching that is supposed to help. And this is what happened. If your teaching is not doing the work when someone's there, how are they going to keep up with it once they leave you? It's impossible. So.
Right. And if you was vegan and you wasn't smoking and you wasn't doing all those vices that you haven't got over yet, the poisons that you put in your body, you would have came back by now. Because it's all. Hey, no, the fuck I wouldn't. Listen. No, the fuck I wouldn't. Let me tell you why. Because it ain't nothing else. And I'm gonna tell you the only reason why y'all stay where y'all at because y'all like the creatures of comfort that you get. You like the smoke. You like the woman. You like all those things, right? And you put. Oh yeah, you like the women too. You like the bitches too. Not my morals and principles.
See, and not only do he like the women, he likes men as well. Okay, they were saying not he wasn't just a prostitute. He was a gay prostitute. So, now he's throwing her under the bus. And see these things. This is one of the worst part of him is what he don't understand is that when you're teaching people this teaching about their inner selves and about finding themselves. Number one, the very first thing that I had to learn, one of the very first things that I had to walk through in my life and study myself on, and that was to not share other people information. So I pride myself on that. I had to study myself to see what I was doing. It was a phase in my life where I was there looking at who I was talking to, the things they were telling me, and watching myself to see if I had an urge to tell. There was times in my life that I did. I mean, in this phase of life, that I had that urge to tell, but I had to deal with that urge to tell and make sure that I did not come out telling. So it got to the point where it was like a non written soul contract that I had to make with myself because people cannot trust you if you're going to tell everything they have told you about themselves. Okay, and this is what this man does when he goes and going to these so-called nigger moments, which that word is a white racist word. I don't care how you fix it up. And he has a guru or a true teacher or truth teacher should know that and should not use that word trying to teach someone to go higher. Anyways, so he goes and use their information, and we've seen it many times. Matter of fact, he should not have their information online. He should have permission from them to film their stories, and the really personal stories, they should not be done online. They should not be done on video. Okay, things get told in those things that people might be ashamed of. And of course, you're trying to work on shame, but still, you don't do that. And also, they involve other people who are not in this session. Other people, their family members, and different things. So you do not share that information. And this man is sitting here throwing her information up. He's thrown other people information up and out to other people, trying to hurt. He uses it. He tries to use what he learned about them. And that is not love. And that is not in the spirit of love. And it is not what a truth guru does. It's not a master of this teaching, of this ageless wisdom teaching of know thyself, will never, ever use what the personal, secretive information that you've given them, the confidential, that's the word I want to use, confidential information that you gave them, they would never, ever let it come out of their mouths unless they're talking to you or they have your permission, period. And that is something also that a psychologist in the system have to make agreements to. But when you're on a spiritual path and you start mastering these kind of things, then it is a part of a, like an initiation that you go through, a spiritual initiation. And you have to know that that is extremely important. People can't trust you if they think you're going to go tell their information to other people.
Listen, hey, come on, man. Come on, NatureBoy. You ain't talking to just somebody who don't know you. What I'm saying. If you was to apply the knowledge to your life, if you was to apply just what I told you, right? Right? And then I'd be a pregnant motherfucker right now. What the fuck is you saying? If I was to apply your knowledge, I'd have about 4 or 5 babies. But that's what your, you feel what I'm saying? It's not that's what your womb is for? No, because the last teaching that I heard was, nigga, no, that's not what my womb is for. Hell no. So your womb is not for children. I'm a fucking
Okay, this also shows you where he wants to tell women what their purpose is on earth. And yes, women, every woman has a womb, but that doesn't mean that their womb is what is supposed to be guiding her. Okay? There's other things in life than having 10, 12, 20 babies. Okay? You cannot do that to your body. I mean, you can if you agree to it, but what we have found in in society is that people that have those kind of numbers and children cannot, number one, you cannot give each child the kind of attention that it needs to grow spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. You just cannot give them the time that they need to be nurtured and to be taught well, especially when you have a man or men that will not be there to assist in growing, helping to nurture and raise those children.
I'm a mother to all. Listen, I'm a mother to all. Everybody don't have to physically have a baby. I understand that, but what the hell? I was your mama for a minute. Don't get that shit twisted. Okay, but I'm asking you a question. What is your ovaries for? Hell, mine is balls. They just ain't dropped. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so what are your eggs for? What are your eggs for? Listen, I'm a mother to all. Okay, you feel what I'm saying? I carry within me. I carry within me. That's subjective. That's not objective. No, listen to my perspective. Listen to my perspective. Listen to my perspective. Because everybody don't have to physically have a child to be a mother. And I'm a very good, great nurturer. You feel what I'm saying? I never said you did. Okay, so I don't need. I'm saying is this: you were designed to have a child, and for you to consciously decide not to have children is blasphemy to the creation of. So what? I'm gonna have the kids, and then.
And that is not true. Okay? That's number one, from a male perspective who wants to have hundreds of kids if he could. Okay? Because he wants to do the act of having those children. Not that he wants to take care of those children. He just wants the act. He also wants to somehow make people, he wants to be a creator, you know. So that should tell you something right there, that he wants to be the creator and have all these children that he can't take care of and he won't take care of. So like I said before, we have eyes to see, but should we look at everything? We have a brain. We have, I won't say that, I say we have hands to pick up things. But should we pick up everything? Should we work our hands to the bone to where we're doing it every day and all day? No. And the same thing with a woman's womb. It should not be used constantly birthing children till you die. Because you could have children up until your last days of having children. But we evolve and we understand that like children needs to be reared and protected and taught, and you cannot do that properly with 15 children and 20 children. We know this. That's not the only reason that they brought in birth control, but birth control basically woke people up, made people understand that your life is more, and your child's life is more uh, happier, more productive, more spiritually productive, and more mentally productive if that child has a parent that gives certain things to them. So no, the womb is not just, it's not meant, the way he's making it sound like your womb is there to be used and to have as many babies as you can. That's like a dog. And see, a man, it's easy for a man to say, because this particular man, that's all he wants to do is have sex all the time with any woman that comes over there. And they're telling us that he does. He has sex with every single woman that has been there. So I don't know if he slept with her, this lady, but his ex that just left came out and said that he's has slept with everyone there, and all the people that were there when she left. So that explains a lot.
And know that I'm not responsible enough or at a place where I can take care of them and just leave them. I'm not gonna do that. Guess what? I would rather whoever's drawn to me, I would nurture them. I never said all that. You added that shit. I mean, said all that. According to your philosophy, listen to me. You got two jobs. You got two reasons for breathing. Two reasons for being here. What is that? One reason is to reproduce human beings. Your reproduction. I'm just telling you, your job is to be a mother and to be a helpmeet to a man. That's what your two jobs is, to be here. Point blank period.
So, that's that religious thing, that Bible teaching, that European, what he called European Bible teaching. A woman's job is two things: be a helpmate for a man and have babies, and that's it. So his idea is barefoot, pregnant, and in the kitchen. That's it. Which, of course, he's wrong. because we have found out after centuries of women living like that, that no, that's not true. Women have other things that they should do. And when they teach that, these men don't understand is that, let's say if he did have women or have a wife and they raising a family and they go on with life, and he didn't teach her anything because men was to the point the women couldn't drive, the women couldn't work, the women couldn't, she couldn't get a job outside the home, she couldn't go to school to finish education or have an education, she couldn't do anything that he did not sign on for. But the thing is, what they had to realize, and what this man does not realize and probably never will, is that when you do not allow a woman to be who she is supposed to be on this earth mentally and emotionally and spiritually, the reason that she was truly put down here. See, those were men. Men said that that's what women were here for. Men said that and put it in a book. Men said that and wrote it and spread it around the world, that this is the only purpose for women. God never told any of these guys that this is what a woman is supposed to do on this, the reason that a woman is here. They don't even know what they're here for. So they're going to tell a woman what she's here for. So, but the thing is that if they women were stuck to that right now, and there was a man, like I say, him by himself and his woman, and she does nothing but take care of kids, and something happens to him, he dies. This woman don't know how to drive. Only thing she knows how to do is cook, take care of kids. That is it. And have babies. That's it. She don't know. She don't have education. She don't have, only thing she knows is what he has taught her, which basically is nothing, basically, because he's the Messiah, so he don't even want her to think, basically. And she knows nothing. She knows how to do nothing. And that's what we ran into society here, that women could not take care of themselves. They couldn't take care of their families. When the men used to, when they owned property and different things like that, the women names couldn't be on the property. The women, could not, they didn't know the business. They didn't know anything. So they could not nowadays, usually a woman, if he has a man that has a business and all that other things, when he pass away, the woman knows. It's better for a woman to know what's the insurance, because number one, she's going to have to bury him. She's going to have to know how to go and talk to the mortuary and all of that. She's going to have to know. She's going to have to be able to drive to get this paperwork and stuff done. She's going to have to get a death certificate and all of these different things. She's going to have to be able to move around and go get these things. Plus, she might have kids that she got to bring around with her. Okay, so she got a lot to do once you die. Then she got a house, a home. She might not be able to take care of that home. She might not have the money to take care. She find out later that, oh, the house is not paid off. She needs to pay for it. How is she going to get the money to pay for it? Sometimes he didn't have enough money, or he did have a little money. Different things like that. And she can't drive, so you got a car sitting out there that she can't drive. These kind of things men do not think about. And in the meanwhile, they're gone. And the slave that they left behind, which is their so-called wife or their woman, knows nothing. All she knows is the children.
Okay, and I can't be a mother or a helpmeet to a man without physically being in a relationship with a man and without physically having a child. I can still be a mother. I can still be a helpmeet to a man, to a woman, to whoever I need to be a helpmeet to. You feel what I'm saying? Whatever the word you're using. I'm telling you that your womb is made to reproduce human beings. It does, spiritually. No, not in the physical sense. I'm talking about your womb was made to reproduce human beings. Your vagina, your vagina is made for real penises.
Oh my God.
No, absolutely not. No. Ain't no penis going up in my vagina. You feel what I'm saying? I put a big penis in your vagina. You feel what I'm saying? But ain't no penis going up my goddamn vagina. That's not what it's for. And that's why you are where you are. It's because. Where am I? I'm in a good place, G. No, you over there stressing right now. What you call good is not good. But it's good. I'm still listen to me. Listen to me. I run a studio full of teams, full of kids. Listen, I'm a mother to all. I'm still living my purpose. You feel what I'm saying? I ain't had not one kid yet. But guess what? Watch this, baby, because you forgot who you talking to. What's up? You run.
Every woman is not meant to be a mother. Every woman that comes on this earth who has a womb do not and has not given birth to a child. There is a certain percentage of women on this earth that has never had a child and never bared a child, not because of their preference, but because they can't. Okay? So, who is he to say that they're not a woman then? They're not a woman because of him, because he says they're not, because they can't fulfill a purpose, the purpose that he thinks they should fill. The man has taught him to believe that a woman should do. I mean, really, this is pretty sick, really. Pretty infantile. It's very immature, spiritually immature is what it is.
Hey, you run a studio, right? Yes. For people in Babylon. Yes. In the system. So basically, you know that in we are. System. Let me finish. You know that we are cells in the body of God, right? Oh my God, I don't know that. I don't know. Look, here you go. This is what I'm talking about. You don't get. This is when this shit gets confusing to me. Come on now, you know this shit never. It gets confusing. I can't. You got.
What was he talking about? Cells in the body of God. You're a cell in the body of God. Okay. She don't want her mind to go there. That's obvious. She don't want to hear that.
Gotta stop smoking and eating meat, man. So that you can receive. I don't smoke meat. I smoke weed. And I smoke the best weed in the city. Smoking weed and eating meat, man. You gotta stop it. You gotta stop eating. You gotta stop eating this. I think you need to smoke some weed. Did you try the ayahuasca? Listen, man. Listen to what I'm saying to you, bro. This is what I'm saying to you. Listen. What I'm saying to you is this: that you are in a cancer. Well, if you was to zoom out of the earth. I can't zoom out, NatureBoy. No, I can't even. I don't even have the imagination to zoom out. There it is. Because your brain waves cannot pick up the highest. I'm serious. It's like, so I can't talk to you. You can't grasp it.
She can pick it up. She don't want to hear it. She don't want to pick it up. He don't get that. She do not want to pick up what you're laying down because it sounds crazy to her. She has a way that she has learned to put a stop to you going on and on and on about your so-called knowledge.
And you went into your lower self and you live there now. NatureBoy, no. NatureBoy, I've never been able to crash this. Chief. My name's Chief. Listen, right?
Now, he just told her to call him Chief. Number one, I know one of the principles of the Know Thyself teaching is you do not attach labels. Okay? You don't come attached to labels. You're not your name. You're not your body. You're none of that. And he constantly changes his name. So now he wants her to call him Chief. And he insists on being called Chief when he called himself NatureBoy. He named himself in the beginning NatureBoy. So now it's no longer acceptable, and he will get upset if you call him NatureBoy and refuse or have a problem with keep switching back and forth to try to find what his name is at the moment in the time.
You did too, though. That's just what this what I want you to hear.
Bingo. That's it. She's telling him, you're in your lower self, buddy. You're not higher than you think you are. You're not there. That's but she's jumping on everything he has to say and turning it around on him.
That's what I want you to hear. Because you hear me when I tell you these type of things. You went back into your lower self too, son. You did. You did. Like, come on, huh? You know what I mean? Like I know you ain't even shining no more. Like, you feel me? You went back to your lower self too. So I can acknowledge I went back to my lower self. You know what I mean? I can say that I did. You feel what I'm saying? But guess what? I'm still learning. I'm still growing every day.
I'll take that back. He did shine a little bit. Not shine. I won't say shine. He just seemed humble after he went to jail. Then slowly, 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 once he had this last after the young lady left, you know, he had to fight with or you Velvet. Then he started, like she said, going back into started going low again. You know, he started not trying to be so good anymore.
Which I'm sure you are. But guess what? You can't keep. You went back to your lower self. You got to point the figure at you too, bro. You went back to your lower self too. You know what I'm saying? You did it. I always point the finger to myself, right? If you never listen to and then you pointed back. Nah. Listen, I always speak the truth. Always speak the truth. You feel me? I told you that I was responsible for dealing with Eliana like that. I shouldn't have been dealing with her at all. And so at the end of the day, I seen the signs and I kept dealing with it, and I set my family back. I said that, or I took responsibility. You dig? So yeah, you could say I was in my lower self dealing with her. You feel what I'm saying? So I see my mistakes and I admitted my mistakes and I know that, and I'm going to you know what I'm saying, bounce back from that. But I'm not going to sit here and purposely stay in it. Nah, don't stay in it, but you need.
Now, the thing is that I can't switch right now. I won't be able to find the videos where he's at this new, where he has made videos addressing Velvet, and he's saying some horrible things. And at one video he did standing on the porch and had the other people behind him. He was saying that, oh, she's talking shit stuff about him. I have to remember how to spell it. And he is he has them all behind him, and he's saying that, you know, she's talking about we're all skinny and everything, and you know, and then you're standing there and the guys are trying to hide because they are skinny and they know it. And he was talking so bad about her and to her, and then he walks into the camera and stood right in front of the camera or the phone or whatever he's using, and he has this look, this most hateful, evil look on his face that was nowhere near a higher self. And this had to be another week after this video. So he is nowhere near, because see, what I know about getting to know yourself, and then when you start living from your higher self, and you find yourself going both ways, you know, going back and forth, and that's life, you know, that's what we do. But on this path, you learn to live in your higher self. And even though some things you do might not be as high or be considered in your higher self, be from your ego. That's what we're talking about here, your ego. What I understand and what I know is that when you truly know living from your higher self on a daily basis, what it does is it changes you, it transforms you to the point where when something comes up, when a situation comes up, and you have a choice of acting from your lower self or from the higher self. Your higher self always kicks in. Your higher self takes over. And it's changes that are made on the inside of you to where you don't even notice them yourself until a situation happens. And then the truth self comes out. And then that's when you know that you have achieved something. So on YouTube, there was a young lady that opened up her life. She had the issue with her sister, and she got online and she talked about it and she cried about it and all of that. And there was some women who thought it was funny, and they started making videos laughing at her. And there was this one young lady who, she wasn't totally laughing at her, but she was making fun. It was not a video to do for a woman to do, to make fun of somebody else, or even to comment on another woman's pain like that. That was a horrible situation to go through. And if you're a woman and you have a heart, then that's something that no man should ever put a woman through. So, anyways, this woman is online talking about it, and feeling that, oh well, why, if you're so high, why didn't you know this? And if you can read cards, or you're psychic, or why didn't you know this was going to happen before that, and this, and that kind of stuff. So finally I wrote a comment. I couldn't even watch the whole thing because it was just pretty, it was pretty disgusting